All right. Welcome to the premiere episode of my weird new podcast called Mr. K is Wrong. So, what is that all about? Well, it's an interesting premise, I think. Mr. K is somebody that I used to know back in my high school days. He was one of the favorite people in my institution that I'm talking about. And over the years, we've definitely drifted apart, not only due to my no longer being there, but because he's drifted further into the far right rabbit hole. And that's largely what this podcast is about. So, Mr. K is going to remain relatively anonymous. I'm not going to tell you who he is. And if you're a super sleuth, maybe you could do some, digging and discover it yourself. But considering that it kind of defeats the point of this podcast, which is to focus on his weird content, I would advise you against, doing that. Because the focus is more on the ideas and the rottenness that they have, that they contain, and not so much on the personality, or the person, I should say. So, today's episode is called Mr. K's Meme Misses the Mark, Tired Tropes and Boring Jokes. So, if you're seeing the image of Mr. K related to this episode, it kind of looks like Butthead in a suit and tie. And that's because, in all honesty, when I was, you know, attending regular social settings where Mr. K was present, he did kind of look like Butthead in a suit and tie. And I'm not even saying that really in a particularly insulting way, it's just true. He had the same kind of hairdo that Butthead from Beavis and Butthead has. It's not even me being all that mean spirited. So that's why I'm using that AI generated image. And interestingly enough, as I debunk this strange right wing Facebook meme of someone I used to respect, I should mention also that one of the things I'm going to do here is I'm going to type in information on ChatGTP and see if they can debunk some of his online content. And if ChatGTP can do that without me really, lending a hand in debunking anything, that sort of shows just how bad his memes are on Facebook. So, enough of that. I've introduced it enough. So, here's what I asked ChatGTP to explore. I said, "Explain why this meme joke is bland. The image depicts someone peeking out their window through the blinds, and the caption says, 'Me watching the vegan couple next door argue about the Big Mac wrapper that I tossed into the back seat of their car.' Ha 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 ha, so funny." That's me interjecting right now. But I told ChatGTP, as it analyzes that joke for flaws, I said, mention how it's lazy because the person who posted it is a Republican and is too boring to post any jokes critical of the pro-meat eating point of view. And ChatGTP came up with some pretty banger results. And I don't normally throw the word banger around, but that's what the kids are saying these days, so I'm going to say it too. But anyway, here's the result that GTP or ChatGTP or GPT, Jesus Christ. I think I've been saying that wrong this whole time. But anyway, here's what they said. The meme described comes off as bland because it lacks creativity and depth, relying on a tired trope of mocking vegans rather than offering a fresh or nuanced perspective. So right off the bat, ChatGPT is not messing around. And I'm probably going to call it GTP again because apparently I'm dyslexic when it comes to those letters. But anyway, it's already a pretty stellar, critique of that meme. Indeed, it doesn't offer a fresh or nuanced perspective. It's just making fun of vegans. Wow, okay. And the Chat GPT continues. It says the humor hinges solely on the idea that vegans are easily offended by anything related to meat, which is an overplayed and simplistic joke. Damn, that's people make fun of AI all the time, but it's on a roll here. I mean, what can I say? I'm not a vegan myself, but that these are some good little critiques that they went with. And it continues. Moreover, the meme's laziness is amplified by the fact that the person who posted it is a Republican who, based on the context, likely subscribes to a pro meat eating stance. Indeed. Instead of challenging their own views or making a joke that could appeal to a broader audience, they opt for a predictable jab at vegans. Holy crap. Again, couldn't really have said it better myself. So, I mean, this is why people use Chat GPT to cheat, because, it's hard to top that. I mean, try to arrange those words in a more meaningful order. You wouldn't need to. It's all right there. The critique is right there. Powerful, even. Anyway, it continues. This approach comes across as uninspired and repetitive, especially when the humor could have been more compelling if it explored or even poked fun at the complexities of the meat eating debate. Well, it's a little bit tough to do that in a meme, although it's not impossible. But that would have definitely made the joke more compelling. And, but it continues. Instead, the meme ends up being boring and unoriginal, failing to engage anyone outside of the echo chamber it was intended for. Bang! That meme's been shot dead, pretty much. Now, I started off with a pretty, moderate meme here. This isn't a particularly extreme joke or anything like that. I'm saving that for, a little bit further down the road when the more extreme elements will be more visible and plain. But this is just, lousy meme. This is basically Mr. K at his best, I would say. And, it falls a little bit flat. Now, I'm not, that viciously against jokes at the expense of vegans or anything like that. I'm not a vegan, as I probably already noted. But, it's really a tired trope because as somebody who has been around vegans and vegetarians and occasionally a stray hippie here and there, or people who follow under or fall under those sorts of banners, it's not like there's a cookie cutter that all these people emerged from. A lot of the hippie type of people that I know actually eat meat. For example, I mean, if you were to ask a certain subset of Republicans about what hippies represent, they would probably say, oh, hippies, they don't eat meat, they don't have a work ethic, and all that kind of stuff. But you know what? There's definitely some BS to that because I knew some hippie types who were entrepreneurs. He manufactured drums, not drugs, but drums. That you play with your hands. And he didn't just do drum circles. He sold them as a business. And he wasn't rich or anything when I knew him, but he worked hard. I mean, what can I say? He was a hard worker, and in fact, at one point, when he was starting his business locally, the person who had owned the business before he showed up was sort of all woe is me because he was actually going out of business and he was definitely more of a conservative type. And I remember him remarking, well, here's this, like this hippie couple, and they're not at all like the stereotypes about hippies being lazy or unproductive and all that kind of stuff. I mean, granted, they smoked pot too much for my liking. I think some people do smoke too much marijuana, and some of them are right wingers, by the way. But other than that, I mean, they were mostly just good people as far as I'm concerned. I didn't care, about every aspect of their lifestyle or whatever. I actually ate with them at Thanksgiving one year. So, yeah, they were reasonably nice people. I jammed with them here and there. Often I was playing guitar and he was playing the hand drums. And, I can't say they're perfect people, but are they better than some conservative Republicans that I know? Absolutely. Absolutely. It's not like conservative Republicans can never be good people. I'm not saying, they would slam the door in an old lady's face at every opportunity or whatever. Basic politeness still applies in a lot of cases, and it's largely apolitical, right? But at the end of the day, a lot of these demonized left wingers are, hardworking people. I actually don't know that many liberals or leftists who are unemployed. And of course, that's one of the biggest tropes against liberals and hippies and leftists and whatever, is that they just don't want to work. But, very few of them that I know are actually chronically unemployed. I mean, looking at myself, I'll use myself as a punching bag here. I think the longest I was ever unemployed in my adult life was probably almost 2 months. And that's partly because I live in a small town. I almost said, I was trying to say the word job there somehow, but I'm in a small town, and it's not always easy to find a job right away around here, you know. So, and plus at the time I had fewer connections than I have right now, and all that kind of stuff. So, I was basically fresh out of college back then. But, at my very laziest, I was unemployed for about a month and a half, maybe 2 months at the most. I don't remember exactly how long it was, but it wasn't like I was spending years and years not working, or whatever they're trying to say, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, this is a crappy meme. I think I've actually said enough about it, and yeah, this is episode 1. Have a good day.